Oh my god, felicitations! Welcome back to my kingdom of stagey isolation. If you're seeing my face for the first time, my name is Mickey Joe and I am obsessed with all things theatre. I am dressed this way for two reasons. One is because once again I am talking about all things Bridgerton the Musical. If you haven't watched already, last week I made a video on my channel about Bridgerton the Musical where I was just checking out what the vibe was, watching some of the TikToks, seeing if I was into it as much as I am into the Netflix show. The answer is yes. I'm obsessed with Bridgerton the Musical already. As should you be. Get into it. The other reason I'm dressed like this is because I own an awful lot of these tailcoats and I really don't get very few other opportunities. I can't wear this to work. I was trying to do something slightly more avant-garde with this one, but I feel like I look like a Regency version of Colonel Sanders for the KFC guy. Like, you guys would tell me if I looked like the KFC guy, right? So Bridgerton the Musical is definitely picking up some pace. I'm obsessed, the rest of the internet is obsessed. Abigail Barlow and Emily Bear, who are the main songwriters behind it, have written a bunch more songs. They're doing TV interviews, it's gaining traction. Jonathan Bailey, who played Anthony Bridgerton in the show, knows about it and he's into it. I think their plan sometime soon is to get some of the songs that they've written recorded as a kind of a concept album, which brings me to today's video.
If Bridgerton's on Broadway, then which actors are we casting and which roles should they play?
I feel like since there is now a glimmer of hope at the possibility of an actual stage version of the Bridgerton musical, it is time to just wildly dreamcast a lavish Broadway production. Or a West End production, you know, I'm not choosy. So I've spent a good amount of time thinking about who should be cast in a Broadway or West End version of the Bridgerton musical. I asked in my first video as well, and I'm going to talk through some of the options. These are my thoughts, you know, it's just all my personal opinion, and if you don't agree with me, then that's fine. You're just incorrect. Fight me in the comments section, I don't care. I will say as a disclaimer, in terms of casting race-wise in this whole musical, I think it's really important that the roles played by black actors in the TV series are still played by black actors in the stage adaptation. I think representation is important. Usually the fact that they were black characters was referenced in some way in the show, and I think that's very important, mostly to their characters, especially with the Queen, Lady Danbury, Simon. It's pivotally important all of those were black characters. It's very much referenced in the plot. In terms of the white characters, because the society depicted in the show is post-racial, it doesn't really matter that they're played exclusively by white people, and I would love to see a completely colourblind approach to this casting beyond the black characters. I think this is something that fans want to see from Broadway shows in terms of their casting. Look at the response for Hamilton, for Six, for Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812. Gosh, that show was a mouthful. That's why it closed. People were like, hey, do you want to go see Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812? And they're like, we don't have time. So I'm literally just going to talk through all of the characters that would appear in Bridgerton the Musical, and I'm going to say who I think probably would get cast with Broadway the way it usually is, and who I think should get cast. We're doing would, we're doing should. You understand how it works. We begin with Daphne Bridgerton. You know who she is. Her face is all over the artwork and the marketing. She's the diamond of the season. Who do I think would be cast as Daphne Bridgerton? Now, ostensibly, I feel like it's the lead role in a Broadway show. Most of the time, this would go to some sort of a name. I could see it going to like a Dove Cameron. I could see them casting Dove Cameron in this type of a role. She's played Clara in The Light and the Piazza, which I feel like is an equally, I'm gonna say it, whiny ingenue who only cares about a boy. The challenge with Daphne Bridgerton is she is very irritating. So the challenge is to make Daphne Bridgerton likeable, and I think that falls to casting someone who's going to have a more interesting approach than the usual just sort of, oh, I'm young and blonde, and if only this man would love me. Green finch and linnet bird, nightingale, blackbird, how is it you sing? Some other thoughts I had that were maybe slightly less conventional. Rachel Ziegler, who is going to be playing Maria in the upcoming West Side Story movie. She's quite big on social media. She hasn't had a professional stage debut. This could be a great role for her. I also can't not mention Madison Boulemont. It looks French, but then I'm a person with a French surname who is not pronounced the French way. She plays Anne Boleyn in the UK tour of Six, and she looks exactly like the girl who plays Daphne Bridgerton in the Netflix series. It's almost creepily uncanny. So maybe cast her and nobody will be able to tell the difference. Moving on, Simon Bassett, the Duke of Hastings, the romantic lead. Another obvious choice, especially opposite Dove Cameron, would be Jordan Fisher. I did not realise until this morning that these two had Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, whatever it is, history. I was not a Disney Channel baby. I was too busy watching Bernadette Peters on YouTube. But I could definitely see Jordan Fisher in this role, especially the way the music's being written with this contemporary riffing sound. That whole bit, he'd do that great. He's got stage chops at this point. He's done Evan Hansen. He's done Philip/Lawrence in Hamilton. Some other thoughts for casting for Simon Bassett. Now these are sort of lesser known West End actors, but Luke Brady, who is currently playing Moses in The Prince of Egypt, would be great at this. Also Shaq Taylor, who is very much a rising star in UK musical theatre, but I've had the chance to see him perform a few times, and he has this beautiful bassy voice, and I feel very strongly about Simon Bassett having a baritone-y, bassy, delicious vocal tone. Moving on to our other gentleman, Anthony Bridgerton. Jonathan Bailey played Anthony Bridgerton in the TV series, and he has a theatrical background. Not only that, but he has a musical theatre background as well. He has played Jamie in the last 5 years. He was the male version of Jamie. God, was that also Jamie? He just only plays characters called Jamie. So he played Jamie in the gender-swapped version of Company, and he won an Olivier Award for Best Supporting Actor in a Musical. He was very fun in that role. So he could definitely reprise this role on stage if he so wanted to, which, would be fun, but when it's not the rest of the cast, it would just feel kind of slightly out of place. I'm going to throw Stuart Clark from the West End into the ring. He played the Squip in the London version of Be More Chill, but before that he was in Fiddler on the Roof, he was in Assassins, he was in Loserville, he's done Streetcar Named Desire. Excellent actor. Ghost! He was in Ghost. Benedict Bridgerton, next brother. This is more your Jeremy Jordan role. He's the troubled middle brother who, doesn't really have any kind of a purpose and just likes going to parties with artists and having orgies and painting. Don't we all? Listen, post-lockdown, anything can happen. Broadway-wise, I could see this going to like a Derek Klenner or a Matt Doyle, somebody of that ilk. You don't hear a lot of ilk these days. Ilk. I would also love to see Isaac Cole Powell in this role, just because of how talented I think Isaac Cole Powell is. Another actor who I think is perfect for Benedict Bridgerton is Ollie Higginson, who played Jamie in the last 5 years at the Southwark Playhouse very recently in their whole actor-musician production. Then we go down to Colin Bridgerton, youngest brother, hopeless romantic. This is your Reeve Carney. You just know that Colin is going to get some sort of a floaty, high tenor, oh, I love you, some girls, da-da-da-da-da-da, I feel you, Johanna, that kind of a vibe. Which is why I see Reeve Carney in this role. It's his kind of jam. Is Andrew Barth Feldman too young for this? Because he is meant to be very young in the show. Luke Newton, who plays him in the Netflix version, is also musical theatre background. I have sung in a concert with him before. There are so many people who could play this role though. Rob Houchen could play this role, Blake Patrick Anderson could play this role, Tyrone Huntley. Lots of good options for Colin Bridgerton. Eloise Bridgerton coming in at E. Wait, who's the D? Anthony Benedict Daphne. Eloise is one of my favourite characters from the Netflix series, and she has one of my favourite songs that has been written for the musical so far. I could super see Sophia Ann Caruso doing this part, or Presley Ryan if Sophia's not available. Violet Bridgerton, the mother. Now if you're in the West End, this is going to be like a Jenna Russell type or a Diane Pilkington. If you're on Broadway, I could see Rachel Bay Jones, Jennifer Laura Thompson. I didn't even make a deliberate Dear Evan Hansen connection there. They're just the people I think of when I think of mothers. Warm, maternal, mothering energy with beautiful voices. Or like an Andrea Burns, Leah Salonga, any of the above. Very maternal, beautiful voices. The other mother in the show is Lady Portia Featherington, Hannah Waddingham. I'm obsessed with Hannah Waddingham. I know her via West End shows like Spamalot and The Wizard of Oz and Into the Woods and Kiss Me Kate. The rest of the world knows Hannah Waddingham as the lady from Sex Education, Ted Lasso and the Shame Nun from Game of Thrones. Also Carolee Carmello. Oh, Carolee Carmello would be great at this, but then you can't not give her a solo. She has to have one in every show. It's the law. Penelope Featherington, her daughter, well, one of her 3 daughters, but honestly the only one we care about. Now, people want to see Carrie Hope Fletcher in this role because she's already done a version of it. Is it a big enough character for Carrie to play? These are the questions. Who else thinks Amy Lovett would be a great Penelope Featherington? I do. And then Marina Thompson, Anushka Lucas, who I saw play Mary in the Regent's Park revival of Jesus Christ Superstar last summer, would be really great in this role. So would like Eva Noblezada. I could see that casting, absolutely. For Sienna, the opera singer that Anthony falls in love with. You need someone who just has an out-of-this-world, next-level amazing voice. Renee Rapp. What about Renee Rapp? First person I thought of. You could have Philippa Sue. You could have Maimouna Memon from the West End. You could have Samantha Barks. A lot of options, but it needs to be like a voice. Lady Danbury. I feel very strongly about this because Lady Danbury is one of my favourite characters in the entire TV show. I feel like Renee Elise Goldsberry would be great at this. This would be a perfect role for her. From a West End background, I could see someone like Melanie LaBarry in this role. She always does that kind of a maternal, nurturing, but still sassy at the same time. What about Alexandra Billings? Alexandra Billings is an amazing trans actress who recently played Madame Morrible on Broadway. I could see her playing Lady Danbury. Yes, she'd be fierce. And Lady Danbury is fierce, let me tell you. And then the Queen. Now, interestingly, Golda Roussevel, who plays the Queen in the Netflix version of Bridgerton, I have seen her in a musical before. I've seen her in a musical called Wonder.Land. That was a whole time. But she was very good in that, and she has a very solid and substantial theatre background, so again, could reprise her role on the stage. If she's not available, Sharon D. Clarke is a queen, so why not? Or Audra McDonald. Can we dare to dream that big? Audra McDonald as the Queen in Bridgerton on Broadway. Oh, that's gorgeous. But again, you have to write her, a bunch of songs at this point. Does Audra McDonald even do supporting roles on Broadway? Not recently. She does it to win that one Tony and then she ticked that one off and she was like, right, I'm a leading actress now. It's what she deserves. Someone in the comment section of my last Bridgerton video had suggested a white actress for the Queen. It's very important that the Queen is black because her marriage to King George is what changed Georgian society in this sort of dystopian version of history and made it post-racial and racially integrated because of her acceptance into the royal family. And then the last one I feel like we have to address, there's some other small supporting characters, but we can work out those details later. Who would be the voice of Lady Whistledown? Because obviously in the Netflix series, one of the characters secretly is Lady Whistledown. I'm not telling you who, you have to watch till the end. But we hear Lady Whistledown's voiceover via Julie Andrews' voice, so as to not give away the identity early. So who would provide us with that in the Broadway version if they still do it that way? Obviously with it being a musical version, it would then have to be a sung Lady Whistledown sort of a narration, obviously. Who can replace Julie Andrews? That feels impossible to me. What's sad is the late Rebecca Luker would have been fantastic in this role. She has one of the most beautiful voices. I'm just gonna say Kelly O'Hara. I'm gonna throw that one out there, see where it goes, hope it comes back to me. I can't even come up with alternatives. That was such a great idea, I'm sticking to it. Gosh, casting is exhausting. I have a newfound respect for casting directors, because that took a lot of thought. Let me know your thoughts on the casting that I have suggested. Let me know what other people you could see cast in some of these roles. I'm sure there's some great ideas and some really phenomenal out-of-the-box casting that I haven't yet thought of, and I would love to hear about it. So let me know in the comments section down below. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to subscribe to my channel where there is plenty more musical theatre content, as well as more Bridgerton the Musical content that I've already made and more that will be coming soon. I hope that everyone is staying safe and that you have a stagey day.
For 10 more seconds, I'm Mickey Joe Theatre. Oh my god, hey. Thanks for watching, have a stagey day. Subscribe!